Hello and welcome to the LCM Show. I'm joined with a wonderful DJ called Pete Brady. He's a DJ on the Superfly funk and soul radio station in Belfast. And when I actually got to know Pete was when I was involved in this mega marathon that he had. He had a mega marathon of DJs all over the continent, all over from different countries of the world. And he was raising money for the NHS. So on the 25th of April, he had so many DJs and so many artists involved in music from 12 noon to 12 midnight. It was such a wonderful event, and it was such a privilege for me to actually be involved in that. So over to Pete. Tell us a bit more about this event that you did.
Lorraine, probably like a lot of people in the music business, there's a lot of idle time at the minute, and I thought, you know, how can I put this time to best use? So I think through the radio show that I've been hosting for the last 4.5 years, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to approach some of the people that I've had play Belfast for me, a lot of guys who I would play their records on a regular basis on my show, and just see what they would say, would they fancy being involved? And the response I got was amazing. Like I say, yourself was involved, and it was brilliant to have you there. It offered something really different, Lorraine, I have to say. And well done to Clive, by the way, because it was a very polished performance and very professional looking, really sleek. I loved it. And we also had Noel McCoy. We had Neil Jones from Stone Foundation. We had the Allergies, who went down an absolute storm. And we had Emma Baird from Soul Immigrants, Nick Corbin as well. So it really was a bit of a who's who from the funk and soul scene across the whole of the UK. And on a worldwide scale, we had DJs from as far as Australia, and Curtis Powers from America joined us as well from Brooklyn. So overall, it was a really successful day. We wanted to have some fun, but wanted to present something that was pretty professional, because we had kind of looked at a lot of the live streaming, Lorraine, and that's on social media at the minute. And we decided that, you know, we weren't going to go with that, you know, broadcasting live through our phones and all of that. It just sounded awful. We wanted something that looked and sounded and felt really slick and really professional, which I think it did. It was really, to be honest. And we also raised a couple of £1,000 for the NHS into the bargain. So we wanted to do some good from having 12 hours of fun. And I think overall, we pretty much achieved everything we wanted to from the day, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. So obviously we're in COVID-19. What is your typical day like?
At the minute, Lorraine, I mean, I'm at home at the minute. I'm not at work. So I think, I mean, there's a bit of homeschooling, like a lot of parents are having to kind of educate themselves and the kind of discipline their children during the day to make sure they're getting all their work done. I try to get out for a walk with the dog every day to keep myself active, keep my mind kind of ticking over, listen to some music while I walk. And to be honest, I think like a lot of DJs and a lot of artists kind of learned a lot about the technology side of things with what we do. So I now learned how to broadcast radio with a really good sound quality, and from my own home, which is something I never thought I would be able to do, to be honest with you, and really home in on the audio quality again of the live streaming that we've been involved in too. So as far as technology goes, I've learned a fair bit, and I'm really pleased with where I've came to within the last few weeks, you know.
Wow, that is really wonderful. Okay, that's wonderful. So can you tell me, what was it like growing up with the music that was surrounding you? What kind of music are you used to when you was growing up?
I suppose as a child, you know, my dad would have listened to a lot of popular music. He listened to some country and western as well. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I would have grown up listening to artists like Glenn Campbell, for example, who's obviously a very highly respected and well-loved musician. But Elvis, the Everly Brothers, that kind of stuff is what my dad listened to. My mum was more kind of Beatles and Rolling Stones, that type of stuff. So my mum would have maybe had a bit more cool than my dad, really, you know. But I suppose as a young kid growing up in Belfast, Lorraine, the thing that kind of threw me into the music that I now love, believe it or not, was purely by chance. It was how we were sat in my first classroom in secondary school and grammar school, and it purely went by in terms of alphabetical order. And it just so happened that the 3 or 4 guys that I sat beside when I was 11 years of age were only starting to kind of form a bit of a love for I suppose those mod bands back in the day, like the Jam and all that kind of stuff, you know. But as I kind of approached 14 or 15 years of age, we started going to a Saturday afternoon club, which was, it ran from 2 to 5 on a Saturday in Belfast. And that was the first place I ever heard stuff like Tamla Motown, Northern Soul. And it was mind blowing. And watching the older guys dance to that stuff was just something else. It just really took me to a place that I never knew existed. And I formed such a love for soul music back in the day. And it's obviously something that's stayed with me to these days. And the funny thing is that those guys that I sat beside at 11 years of age in school are still my friends to this day and still have a love for the music as well. And that's a great thing.
Wow, it's so good when you know that you have friends from since the time you was a child. I mean, I think that's so
Oh,
wonderful to have that.
lovely. It really is. Yeah.
So I think maybe you've actually answered this already, because I was going to say, you know, what is the biggest highlight that you've had as a DJ? But I would reckon that it was the, you know, the event that happened on the 25th of April. Would I say that? Is that right?
For something that I've put together, I mean, a 12-hour marathon of music was something to behold, and the fact that it went off pretty much trouble free, and you know, it was all very very well put together. It was slick, it was professional, it looked great, Lorraine, and yeah, I mean, I would say I'm really really proud of that. That in itself, that event has been pretty much an accumulation of everything that I've done and the scene that I've built here in Belfast, and especially over the last few years. And that has been the platform to have allowed me to do what I did that day. You know.
Yeah. So for you, what does the future actually look like as a radio DJ? Because obviously under the circumstances with COVID, things have obviously, you know, turned upside down for a lot of people. So, you know, what plans do you have for the future?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I have spent 4.5 years broadcasting live from a studio in Belfast, from a record store, actually inside a record store during opening hours, called Belfast Underground Records. That in itself was, again, such a real learning curve for me, Lorraine. It was my first opportunity to broadcast, and over those 4.5 years, I learned an awful lot from the guys that ran the store. That in itself has given me the opportunity now to join a new station. And only last week I've joined a radio station now called The Face Radio. It's based in Brooklyn, New York. And so all of a sudden now I have the ears of a US audience. And that's something that I've been aiming for probably over this last year. So Curtis Powers, who runs the station, is a great guy. He's got something like 45 DJs from all around the world, all playing for him on the station. I'm the first one to turn up from Ireland, so I'm really proud of that. And this is something that Curtis and I have been in talks over for about a year or so now. So I think, to be honest with you, the whole COVID-19 situation is what has allowed me to move forward with this, Lorraine, very quickly, because now that I can broadcast live from home without any interruptions, with really good sound quality, it has allowed me to join this station now. So I'm really, really proud and privileged to be part of something it's such a forward-thinking, really progressive radio station, and it's great to be part of that. So I kind of have coined the phrase from Belfast to Brooklyn, and that's kind of that's been my journey now, really, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you appear to be such a positive person. So can you tell me, what key thing do you actually have in mind when you're faced with anything negative? How do you actually turn it round and still manage to have a smile on your face?
Do you know what, Lorraine? I get this a fair bit. I know that my strengths would be engaging with people, interacting with people. I know that it's something that I'm good at, and I always say along this walk of life that I shouldn't really take any credit for the way I am as a person. I always say that my dad has me the way I am. My father has taught me from a very young age to try and stay upbeat, and I mean, I know it's an old cliched phrase, but to treat people how you'd like to be treated yourself is something that has always kind of stuck with me in life. And you know what? I think music in itself is something that you know, for a lot of people, it's something that can lift the mood and make you feel really good about things. It can change your mood from low to high so quickly. A certain song or a part of a song, and what I think, once you know those songs, and I think we all have them. So songs that would really stick with us through life, songs that make us feel better, certain types of music that makes us feel better. That's something that can really help lift us, you know, when we're in times of trouble, really, you know. And I think music is that powerful. I really do.
Yeah, most definitely. So as we round up, can you just give a word of encouragement to, those people that at the moment facing unemployment, so much bereavement going around, so much loneliness going around? Can you actually just give a word of encouragement to anyone that's listening to this right now?
It's a tough one, Lorraine. It is, because everyone's situations are very different. A lot of people are suffering a lot of financial hardship out there, for example, at the minute. But I don't know. I think for anyone that's involved in music, what I would say is use this time wisely. Don't look on the gloom and doom side of things. I think a lot of bands who maybe miss the buzz of touring, of playing live at the minute, this is a time to kind of home in and learn new skills. Keep your name, keep your brand, and keep in the public eye. Keep it out there, because it's very easy to sit back and do nothing. But I think, certainly for myself, I've moved forwards with live streaming. I've moved forwards building relationships with new bands and new artists. I'm just not prepared to stand still, Lorraine, and wait on all this to blow over. We will get back to normality, or some sort of normality, at some stage, we hope. We don't know when that's going to be, but in the meantime, try and stay positive. Focus on the things that you really love, and and just use those to get through this hard time.
Thank you ever so much for that, Pete. So, thank you for being involved in the LCM show. Wishing
You're
you all
welcome.
the best for the future. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Okay. Take care. Thanks so much.